Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tax Sales Starters. I'm Carlton Hoskins, and today I have with me Brian Sidesticker. As always, he brings the most insight into tax deed and tax lien investing. Some of you out there may have some experience. You may already know a little bit about tax lien investing, or you may know a whole bunch about tax deed investing. What we want to do is talk about some of the scenarios that you might find yourself in when you're doing tax liens and tax deeds. And we want to answer some of those questions. And Brian's team has been fielding these questions for months. So we want to bring these questions to you all. There's an instance here where someone has a deed to their mobile home, and their mobile home sits on the land. Now, the land owner is willing to sell the land, but that's two different assets that need to be combined into one. They're not yet combined into one. They're two different parcels. How does that apply if there's a lien, a tax lien, or tax deed on that property? What happens in that instance?
I was on an interview with, again, an attorney. Actually, it was a couple of attorneys last week talking about this exact scenario. And I always knew it was kind of an issue. I always looked at it as making sure if it's a mobile home that you have both the mobile home and the piece of land is always number one. But then you have the instances in some states where you end up with a lien on only the mobile home, and in some instances only a lien on the vacant land. I always assumed that a lien on the vacant land was best. And that, the opinion of the attorneys was actually that it is not that case, because having a piece of personal property, which is the mobile home, located on your piece of vacant land is a much more sticky situation to navigate, because they have rights, as the owners of that personal property. You can't just hook up and tow that off. Physically you could, but you're going to end up in a lot of very hot water legally by doing that. You don't have the right of just removing it because it's your property. That was new to me. And so their take on it was, and then again, I'm sure, then they caveated it, so I should caveat it too. There may be some states where it's opposite, but at least the 7 or 8 states that they practice in, which makes them pretty knowledgeable. This is actually better to have a lien on just the mobile home, because if you end up owning the mobile home, you have those same rights, right? The property owner of the land can't just come take your trailer and haul it off. You've got your rights on that. And so if you're gonna have cards stacked in your favor, that's a little better of having them stacked in your favor. Always the best scenario is having both, right? Making sure that the lien is on the property that's affixed to the vacant land, right? Affixing that mobile home to the vacant land. But if you were to rank them, right, that being option number 1, option 2 would be having a lien on the mobile home, and option 3 would be having a lien on the vacant land. The bottom two aren't the best scenarios. They can be navigated. But as attorneys made very clear last week, is the worst time to call is after you've drug the mobile home off the property. The previous owner is calling you asking, WTF. In the one instance they thought of, the actual mortgage holder, the bank that was financing that mobile home, is now after you asking WTF. That's a lot of legal issues and headache to deal with, where you should have just called before you did anything rash like that. So definitely something to keep in mind.
Oh, wow. That's interesting, because I would have thought the same thing. I would have thought towards the mobile home would be second, land priority, because I own the land. Okay, take it, move it, and go where you're going to go with it. I guess that makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Yeah, you're right, but you can't just pick it up and move it either.
Right. Exactly. You learn something every day.
Absolutely. That's a new one. Awesome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the alert bell, so you can keep up with the latest posts and updates from Tax Sale Resources here at Tax Sale Starters.